Remember how to do this?
Alright.
Ready? We've been here for a month. 1 month on the homestead. Here's a little tour. All right. The nice thing is that we can edit anything that we want, so. This is a place of many little pots everywhere and many plants waiting to be planted. Right now I have a few of the shrubs that are gonna end up in our hedgerow are still in their pots on the porch. Hopefully in the next couple of days we'll be able to get those planted out in their forever homes. But for now, I guess I'll just show you what they are. This one is a serviceberry. It is a dwarf serviceberry, so it's not gonna get super big. It's gonna have little fruits on it. Here some are. And it's gonna have flowers, and it's gonna be good for the birds. What kind of birds are we seeing out here so far?
Oh man, we got a long list. Probably well over 30 different kinds. Favorite's gotta be the meadowlark, which we never got in Grand Rapids at all, but wakes us up every day, and it's pretty much calls all day long.
Yeah, it's cool to get the meadowlark. Let's see, what else we have? This green stalk is starting to fill out a little bit. It's got lots of tea herbs in it, so here's a nice looking chamomile. There's quite a few little Tulsi plants. This is yarrow. There's parsley and anise hyssop. There's all sorts of fun little things in there. These planters I have filled with a lot of violas. These are the little, I don't remember the variety name, antique something. And they came so beautiful and like little tiny ones. And there's some big ones, you know, violas. Some nasturtium that we started from seed also made it into these pots. This is kind of like a, I don't really know how to plant a planter, so I'm just like putting random things in there and seeing how they look. Here's a lilac bush. And here's another lilac bush. These are all, the lilacs are going in the hedgerow, as well as the serviceberry, and then we have 2 viburnum that are out there too. More planters filled with herbs, tulsi and hyssop. This is a feverfew plant, also a cool one. Stepping off the porch, we're greeted with this view. That's nice on camera. Forgot that was gonna be there.
It's just a blanket.
It's just a blanket. So this is our backyard. There are piles of rubble from previous owners of the farm, and there's mostly just like burned glass and rocks and all sorts of other hazardous stuff in these piles around the yard. What a treat. This area is going to be our vegetable garden. So we have started the sheet mulching process. As you can see, there's kind of a lot of gaps in the cardboard, and it's not really like looking too hot right now, but it's a work in progress, and I'll probably get out here and weed at some point. Let's see. To the barn?
Sure.
Okay. So over this way is the barn. It is a little bit ramshackle and a little bit falling apart and definitely full of a lot of weird things, but it's a barn and it's red. Storing a lot of things, and a lot of things that were already here when we moved in, but you know.
This is my wheelbarrow.
Joe got a wheelbarrow. Woohoo! And those are your tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live in the country now, so we have a lot of spare tires.
We're still looking for a rusted out car.
We're out this side of the barn. I noticed yesterday that there is a Woodchuck Den. It's in this little hole. And there was a lot of woodchucks out there the other day. So we already kind of expected that would be a big pest issue on the farm. And it is turning out to be definitely an issue. But so far, our plan is maybe shoot them, and definitely get dogs.
This is the reason you get a nice camera.
I think so. There's got to be some sort of setting where I can like make the sun look prettier, but it just looks really bright.
You can mess with it with editing later.
Okay. Yeah, these are quite a treat. I know in a lot of places they're like a weed or whatever, but I actually really like this stuff, and I like the way that it smells when you walk on it, and I like that it's a flower, and I like that bees like it. It's kind of cool. Show you the monstrosity that is the former well zone. We had to dig a well, and that's okay. It's gonna be a little windy out on this side of the yard, I think. But here it is. So this whole area was where the new well is, and where the old well was, and where the whole new line was dug.
You have neighbors.
Joe, I just planted this, so I don't know if we should walk on it or shouldn't. I just planted a bunch of clover here, and in an ideal world, there we go. We planted a bunch of clover here in the side yard, and then hopefully we'll have somewhat of something resembling a lawn out here to kind of walk through. And then we also have these cool features from the previous well. So this big cement cylinder and this big cement square are parts of the old well, which sat a little bit over in the yard, and then when they were digging the new well, we had them save these pieces because I wanted to plant things in them. This one just got rained out a bunch, so it looks kind of janky, but I did finally plant in here. Have a little pineapple mint and a peppermint. The peppermint I'm pretty confident will just take over this whole thing and kind of shoot over the sides a little bit. Which is kind of what I wanted it to do. I love peppermint. We make tons and tons of peppermint tea, and I think that would be lit.
I'm gonna jump in this well. It's only a couple feet deep, but I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, so this part doesn't really look like a whole lot right now, but I think that's probably the case with most of this. There actually is a small garden dug out right here that has the beginnings of what we hope to do, a big perennial pollinator garden back here. So I would like to do a little path that kind of walks back this way and snakes around. Right now we have just a few things that I started to tuck in here. So I've got, wow, this was a good test for me to remember. Rudbeckia. We've got some salvia. These are just annuals. I don't know really why I planted those. I actually kind of hate them. This is an English thyme, and this is a butterfly bush. Little lavender, some Shasta daisies. Those will take over quite a bit of space back there. Another one of those salvias, and a regular sage. This should be like a perennial in this space, although it's getting some kind of weird looking leafy stuff, just noticing. That is a hyssop, which I'm really excited. I actually transplanted this from our old farm, and now it lives here along with its neighbor, the lemon thyme. Planted a little rose bush in the corner here, and another one of these ugly things.
Don't forget about Mr. Poppins.
Oh yeah,
Poppins.
Mr. Poppins. We planted two, you're not even going to be able to see this through all the weeds, but this, oh, it actually has like little flowery things on it. This is a winterberry holly. It is a Michigan native plant, and gets those bright red berries on it in the winter. Dog run. They put this ramp in just to appeal to buyers like us. Who don't have dogs. Sandhill cranes in the background. Interruption for bird sounds.
And there's some geese out there. I haven't seen that before.
This is a farm field. Eventually I think I'm gonna do some raised beds in this space. This is like our kitchen window, and so I think it would be really cool to do like some dahlias in a raised bed right under the window so that you could see them growing from inside the house. I have a bunch of dahlia tubers that I need to get planted and get in the ground, but I don't really have the time for that. It's like kind of a low on the list project. So I think I'm gonna start them off inside in little pots, and then once they're sprouted, I'll plant them out in hopefully what becomes a raised bed. So one thing about clay soil is that you might think something is a rock and then suddenly it just crumbles.
Whoa!
Okay,
Like
don't stand
that.
on that. So here's the dandelion field.
My personal favorite part.
Here's a couple more butterfly friendly plants. These actually look a little sad too. I wonder if that's like a, why it's purple. Don't know. This one looks happy. Okay. Big field of dandelions. That's our neighbor's house.
Dandelion field. Yes, we have
Here
a
we
field
are.
Here, though.
And here's a plant that we put in that we're excited about. She is a magnolia. Yay.
Where
Yeah.
did we get this?
We got this from my dear mother-in-law, Joe's mom, Jackie. Thank you so much for the plant. She was so beautiful when flowering, and I'm really excited to see that every spring. It's just such a thrill. Yeah, magnolia. Oh, one petal remains. An autumn olive plant that we need to get rid of. And here's our front yard. So we have these big trees, which originally I thought were going to be oak trees because that's what it said in the survey report in our seller's disclosure. And turns out they are maple trees, which I think is even better because I love maple trees in the fall. I think they're so beautiful, and it's just a really nice one to have outside your sunroom. That's our sunroom. I think the front yard is pretty lit. Eventually I think we'd like to do like some kind of woodsy landscaping around the trees. Maybe some like ferns and rock garden type things. Lots of obviously shade in this area. And this little corner, this is all lily of the valley. Really, really pretty.
This is a favorite from our old apartment too.
Yeah.
But we didn't have as much of it. But.
That is true, actually. This was growing a lot in our backyard in Grand Rapids. It has these beautiful little bellflowers. And if you've never smelled this before, it's like one of my favorite smelling plants. It's so fragrant and it's just very beautiful. So it's rocks that we have that as a front yard. Don't step on it. Why don't you tell us about this area then?
This is the bird bath.
Nice.
It's pretty much dominated by the grackles or red-winged blackbirds.
Yeah.
These are all empty right now because I need to refill them. We took them down for a while because the bird flu was around. But the guy at the birdseed store said it doesn't affect songbirds, and we're just gonna go with it. So I dropped a check over at the birdseed store today, and now I just need to fill them in tomorrow.
You know, we've actually been dropping a lot of checks lately, including the Weber.
Here we got some birdseed.
There's Joe's birdseed. Here's some other potted stuff. These begonias I really, really love. I also got inspired to buy these from Jackie as well. She grew some really pretty ones last year. These are getting a little, some of them need to be pinched off. This chamomile, hello. Poppin'. Some of these plants came from the farm I work at. Huge joke that nobody likes this kind of kale. And I said, I love that kale. I'll take those extra plants. And the truth is I probably will just compost them. I think we kind of made it around the whole business.
You did?
So the property came with a little bench. And I think in time this will be a pretty nice place to sit and kind of soak it in. You can see kind of the vegetable garden from here. You can see the front corner and these maple trees, which will be shady in the summer. And overall, I'm pretty excited to enjoy things from this bench. When I was looking at older pictures and like older listings of the home, they all included this bench, which is cool because you know that it's been here for a while. And it makes you kind of think about like who may have sat here, who may have cared for this home. Somebody came and they planted over in this area were some of my favorite daffodils I've ever seen. We had like little tiny white ones with like a orange ring around the center, and we had like those ruffled double yellow and orange ones, and just really pretty. And it makes you think that at some point somebody probably put a lot of work into this, and we're gonna continue that, and I'm excited to do the same. Kind of feels like every day there's a new thing that we say we need to do this, and a lot of them are like, we need to do this right away. And it can be definitely overwhelming. It kind of like oscillates during the day between overwhelm and just like pure excitement. And
I like the vine.
you know what they say, add it to the list.
I say mo money, mo problems.
These are a couple of our favorite trinkets that made it with us from the old house.
One from Lake Geneva.
This.
If that's not true, we can cut this. I'm double checking. This one we bought there.
Our wooden wind chimes. I think it is really nice to be able to carry little bits of things, like little plants from the previous garden and little trinkets. Makes it feel a little more familiar.
Oh, and then you can hold this up higher? It is adjustable.
Yeah. Yeah, so pound the rebar the rest of the way in.
Hal said it's not adjustable. I was like, dude, are these adjustable? He's like, nope. Blowing in the wind. Now that is gonna be a fucking...
Nice.